Welcome back to the Den of Nerds. I am Josh, and I want to talk to you about these new X-Men scoops and leaks and the additions to that set that is being built for Avengers Doomsday. Because I think all of this stuff goes together, and I just love geeking out about it. And before we get into breaking all this down, I want to issue a warning here. Yes, we are going to talk about some leaks and some scoops and some things that I think are absolutely real, but this video is also going to be filled to the brim with speculation because there's a lot of stuff going on right now that we can't fully explain. We don't know exactly what is happening in these different scenes. And so therefore, when we get into stuff like the plane and we get into stuff like the statues, there's going to be a lot of speculation. We don't know what it is, but also I think I know what it is. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that I want to bring up is that it is looking more and more like the set that is being built for Avengers Doomsday is the X Mansion. Now, I've already made videos about this. I talked about this in streams. I have heard from a very reliable source that it is the X Mansion, but recently Daniel RPK came forward to explain that the X-Men are going to be in their traditional blue and gold suits, and they are currently filming stuff at the X Mansion, which just perfectly lines up with what I heard, that the set is the X Mansion. And again, just so you're fully aware, we believe this will be the X-Men universe from the end of the Marvel's post-credit scene. And yeah, we see Beast in that scene, and he does kind of look like traditional comic book Beast. And according to the chair reveal, we know that several of the Fox X-Men are going to be in this movie. And as I have explained before, there's going to be Magneto and the Brotherhood of Mutants as well, and they're either going to be working with the X-Men or actually fighting against them. Okay, so let's put a pin in that, and then let's talk about the actual set, and then we'll pull it all together. Now, there's two main things going on with this set right now. Number one, these airplane parts have been added to a lot of the craters that are on the set. And of course, we knew this was some kind of battle. There's obviously a bunch of battle damage on the ground, but now we know that there's pieces of this plane. And so we can assume that there were planes either attacking the X Mansion or trying to attack the X Mansion, and then they were destroyed in some kind of a big fight, and a lot of the debris landed, making serious impact and a massive amount of damage in front of the X Mansion. Now, a lot of this is coming from the account Unbox PhD, which has access to the different sets that are being built for this film. And this account also shared some concept art or sketches that apparently represent what this plane looked like. And it is honestly really hard to figure out what is going on with this plane. I think there's really only two options here. Number one, this represents Dr. Doom or Dr. Doom's cabal, and perhaps they are invading this X-Men universe and they are coming after the X Mansion, and they had some kind of a crazy plane that then they get in a fight and it gets destroyed. Now, I also want to say on a side note, Doom's cabal could actually also be the Avengers, and I'm going to talk about that more in a little bit here because it does seem like Dr. Doom might present himself as Tony Stark at first, like he's going to try to pretend that he's just like a helpful Iron Man variant, and that might even be the case with Captain America. So there's like some weird rumors that that's how this thing is going to go, and maybe even a Hydra version of Captain America will be presented as a good guy, and then even though the Avengers are like, wait, what? That's really weird. I guess we'll accept it. I don't know. But that's the first option for this plane and the conflict and all of that, because it could be the Hydra bomber. Again, we'll talk about that in a second. Or it's somebody from that actual universe. Here's a really interesting possibility. What if Dr. Doom actually projects a message to the people of that X planet and says that there is a being held by the X-Men that is essentially causing an incursion that will destroy their entire planet. And then all of humanity on that Earth is like, yo, we gotta roll up to that X Mansion, get this lady, and send her back. I don't want our Earth to be destroyed. And so then maybe that's what's going on with a different version of Nick Fury, maybe different Avengers, or, you know, some crazy stuff from that world. And then maybe as that ship and that force is coming after the X-Men, Magneto shows up, rips one of the planes apart with his magnetic power, and that is why it is in pieces and making massive impact in front of the mansion. Again, we don't know. I don't want you to think like, hey, I'm telling you exactly what's going on with this plane, but the plane's definitely an interesting element to this scene. It really makes it so there must have been some kind of battle that was so big that it had an aerial component. There was air fighting, massive planes, some kind of force coming after the X-Mansion. Okay, but now let's talk about these statues, because there are statues being built in front of the X-Mansion as well. Now, when these statues first started leaking out, people kind of questioned whether or not this was the X-Mansion. Like, I saw a bunch of people speculating that the statues could actually belong to Dr. Doom, and this was like Dr. Doom's mansion, but like, what are you talking about? Dr. Doom doesn't have mansions. And again, we don't know what these statues are, but I'm gonna give you my speculation here. I think these statues are X-Men, and in fact, I think they're fallen X-Men that Charles has memorialized in front of the gifted, or the school for gifted youngsters. And I'll take it one step further. I think these are actually X-Men that are not going to be in the movie, like actors that wouldn't sign the contract or come back to be in these X-Men or in these Avengers movies. Like maybe Halle Berry. Like I've heard Halle Berry might actually just not be in these films, and she's like, no, you're not going to pay me enough. And so instead, they'll make a statue for Storm that looks like Halle Berry, and they'll be like, remember when she died? And then look at the camera and wink at us. I mean, shit, Deadpool might literally make that joke, because there's rumors that Deadpool will be in that universe as well. Now, one last thing I want to talk about in this video is that this is actually possibly the Avengers from 616 fighting against the X-Men. Again, this is not confirmed. This is just kind of my speculation, but a lot of the scoopers and insiders are saying that there will be an incursion in Avengers Doomsday between the X-Men universe and between the 616. And just like in Jonathan Hickman's big Time Runs Out event that preluded Secret Wars, that big conflict between those two Earths is going to be kind of like the final conflict, maybe even the climax of Avengers Doomsday. And so maybe a large portion of the film is the X-Men trying to figure out what's going on with this person, Maria Rambeau, from a different universe. And perhaps they're trying to stop the incursion, and then eventually it gets to a point where there is this incursion, and Earth 616 sends some people to the X-Mansion in an attempt to take Monica back and end the incursion. And this could even be a conflict that would see Steve Rogers and the potential evil variant of Steve Rogers leading the charge for these Avengers as they go after the X-Men. And so for me, as we get more info here, as we look at more of these set photos, I'm looking for signs of who are these attackers. Is this the Avengers? Is this Dr. Doom's people? Is this the people from that X-Men universe? I'm looking for what different X-Men are involved here. Is Magneto here as well? The Brotherhood and the X-Men actually working together. I'm looking for signs of Hydra, Captain America, or some other really crazy stuff. There's just so much fun stuff happening here, and I enjoy speculating about what it could mean. But again, I think it's pretty clearly the X-Mansion. The X-Men actors are all going to start popping up in these set photos likely as well. But anyway, that's your updates about what's going on with the X-Men rumors. You know, Daniel's new scoop, I think, basically confirming that this is the X-Mansion. You've got the plane, you've got the statues, and then I speculate on what I think is going on there. Let me know what you think about this, man. Do you have a theory about how this is all going down? Let me know in the comment section below. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.